It sounded good on my end, at least. It sounded great.
That's always good.
On my end.
I mean, again, it might sound very good on your end, and it, I guess, is lining up properly, but it definitely does not sound good on our end.
I fixed it in post. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about anything on episode 143 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast. On the podcast today, we have a man made possible by donations from viewers like you, Ryan Holtz.
Hey. For some reason, the number 43 has always stuck with me. It was my elementary school best friend's youth football number for a long time.
Oh.
Like the worst, most random football number you can imagine. And he was like one of our best players, but he was number 43. Which might have worked in his favor that everyone was like, that's just number 43. Like, who knows? And then he would just take an end around to the house, and then it would get called back because I had a holding. And that wasn't a formative memory for me. Taking back my friend's awesome touchdown because I quote-unquote held, even though I think it was a phantom call, if I remember right. Yeah. Good times, man. And then I think he had a moment of self-awareness and was like, why am I number 43? Changed it to 87, maybe? I don't know.
How is that superior?
That's a skill position player number. I mean, like,
so is 43, kind of, but I mean, not really.
It's like a fullback number, but like,
there's running backs that have been 43, but it is a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh my god, are we about to bust out a tier maker for this? What are the best numbers in football?
Oh yeah, I could do it easily.
Okay.
Like literally 100% tier list. I could absolutely do it.
Give me the top 5.
Okay. I want this to be a tier list, but instead of it being in like S, A, B, I want you to rank them by numbers. So I want like,
what is the number one number in football?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I want like number 5 to be like number 80, and I want number like
5's not 80.
I'm just coming up with numbers.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not thinking about this super hard, but I want like number 38 to be number 31.
Yeah. No, I could
absolutely.
I could probably rank all 99 numbers in my head for number 1 through 99. Like it is kind of an inherent thing for
There's
football.
There's plenty more
players.
numbers than 99. There's an infinite number of numbers.
Not in football.
Not in football.
No, there was a scene in Last Chance U, which is a football documentary about community college football players and how they're like, dude, why do I have such a trash number? Like, why does this number suck so bad? And then it is, like number 37, and it is like, it is a pretty bad number. Like, and the coaches are all like, it's a number, it doesn't matter. And I'm sitting there like, that's a bad number.
This is
like,
a high prime
I agree with the player
number.
here.
This is garbage.
It is. No, and there is absolutely a hierarchy, and I don't know if all football players know it intrinsically, but yeah. The problem with ranking number 1 through 5 is it is going to depend a little bit on the position, and honestly, I'm probably biased towards single-digit numbers. I think single-digit numbers are what everyone's after. The reason that this rule change came in, I think, is because there's a lot of people that want single-digit numbers. Like, they're like, why should only quarterbacks, punters, and kickers get single-digit numbers? Like, those are the cool ones. So, yeah, I think that's why. And we're going to see a lot of wide receivers that are like number 4 or like D-back who's number 6 or something.
Okay.
So Amari Rogers, the Packers wide receiver that they drafted, he chose number 8. So I think that's the first one on our team.
8 might be the worst single-digit number, though. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Thinking about single-digit football numbers, 8 might be the worst.
I think 2 is the worst.
No, 2's a fucking solid number. 2 might be top 5 in normal.
2 might be top 5. It's just such a funny sentence.
Dude, you're coming out of the tunnel doing the double piece thing, and then you're also number 2. That's fucking Sports Illustrated cover right there, man. Yeah.
2's good shit. 1 is good, but it is a little... There's always going to be that nagging... Ooh, he's kind of conceited, isn't he? And you choose number 1. 2 is number 1 for people that are a little bit more self-aware. That's why I think 2 is actually up there.
So I know this might be a sensitive topic, but I do remember last season Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show. Yeah. And they asked him about numbers. They're like, is there any truth to that? And he's like, yeah. It's like, you get into camp, and there are guys that you know are going to get cut because they get stuck with like fucking 47. Yeah. And if they somehow manage to get out of training camp, they immediately switch to a real number. And then they're like, that was Robert Tunyon. Robert Tunyon was number 47, and everyone made fun of him. They're like, you're not going to make it out of camp. And then he did. And then he's like, immediately, I need to be a different number.
Yeah, no, obviously you had to change. Or like practice squad people that get called up in the middle of the week. And so, yeah, they just get whatever numbers available. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers basically confirmed, I'll target someone if they're if they're like number 39. I might just make sure that they've got what it takes when they're lining up against me a little bit. Like,
I mean, you know what? Yeah, you're in a safe position in a game. You wanna give him a chance to shine, sink or swim. I dig it.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's a nice guy. He's not bullying the people that make what 1/200th of his salary. he's just testing them out. He's making sure that they got what it takes. Is this still the intro?
It is.
I monopolize this.
Also on the podcast today, we had the man who made the jump from SD to HD like a baller, Andrew Clark.
I no longer am shown in 144p. I exist in high definition 480p.
Yeah. That was a thing. You guys remember that in our childhoods?
Mm-hmm.
When 480 was like...
Uh-huh.
That was actually HD.
I had a 480 TV at one point. Like I think that was my first TV. My parents got me like a 22-inch TV to put in my room, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, I can hook my fucking PlayStation up to this thing.
Yeah.
It's at 480p, and I'm like, wow, I am living like a rich person. I am Jeff Bezos.
I remember being pumped. Oh man, this YouTube video is uploaded at 480p. Oh shit, here we go. Wait, no, internet's not actually good enough to play this. Let's bump it down to 240. Still not great. Let's go with auto. Let's go with auto and hope for the best.
And then nothing's changed in the last 10 years. And it's still, I got to watch my YouTube videos at 144.
Oh, boy. Yeah. My dad had one of the first ever flat screens, like, made. And it was flat. Like, the thing was fucking, I would say that thick. Like, it was, not joking, probably, like, 8 to 10 inches thick. Like, and it was HD. I think it was 720. It was like, holy shit! Like, I hooked up my original Xbox.
It's like I'm there.
Yeah, I hooked up my original Xbox to it. In hindsight, using the yellow
like the cables,
which only does SD, not component. No, not the YPRPB, the like blue, green, and whatever yellow or whatever. Just the yellow, which only gives you 480. So I wasn't even using it to its full extent. But I do remember being like, "Oh man, that's so much crisper." And maybe it was. Maybe on the crappy CRT that I normally would play on, it would be significantly worse. But yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. It was interesting, and we had to like mount it. I remember at one point, and that thing was just a ton.
Yeah,
that thing. Not even joking, probably weighed 150 pounds. Like, for a 40-inch flat screen. Like, nowadays, you could get a giant 60-inch TV and it might be 20 pounds. Like, it's insane how far we've come in 15 years.
To bookend this a little bit, for my job today, I realized that Nintendo is branding the Switch port of Skyward Sword as Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. And, like, we're too far in the future for HD to be a selling point anymore, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's kind of, it is expected, right?
Yeah, like, HD is the new standard.
Well, it's one of those, so, like, HD is it's a specific range of resolutions, but to me, the words high definition should be a thing that can still be used no matter how high the definition is. Like, to me, 8K is high definition because it's fucking high. It's a lot. It's a lot of definition. So I still want to refer to that as HD, but I know that HD means a specific range now. Yeah. It's like how modern doesn't just mean current. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like it's a specific era in culture.
Right. A modernist painting is a very old painting now.
Contemporary is the same thing.
Yeah. No,
postmodern is just, it doesn't mean the future. It means like the 90s.
I mean, Call of Duty's been making Modern Warfare games for
a
decade now. And some of them are set, like the earliest Modern Warfare games were set in the like near future. Mm-hmm. So there's probably been a crossover where there was a Modern Warfare that was set after a later version of Modern Warfare. Like the game was set in 2017, and then in 2016 they made a Modern Warfare game set in 2016. So there was like a weird crossover and like Fast and the Furious timeline where they had to retcon a bunch of stuff because they were like, ooh, that happened in like the future technically. So interesting.
I'm trying. Okay, Google not helping me out. Trying to figure out when the first Modern Warfare game in universe took place. Can't dig it up, but I can say that hi, it's me, ya boy, coming to you in 24 frames a second, Lucas the Writer.
24 FPS.
Yeah,
that's cinematic as fuck.
Where does 24 rank in the football jersey number hierarchy?
It's not bad. It's
right?
Respectable.
Top half at least.
Yeah, definitely top half. I mean, the problem is that it's just going to be a ton of disrespect to linemen, like, which is it sucks because they're far and away the most underappreciated people in, I'd argue, any sport. Like a sport as glamorous as American football, to have half the team on the offensive side of the ball be just forgotten and never ever acknowledged is pretty weird when you think about it.
And it's like, it's such a technical position. I mean, like, they all are. Like, the idea of calling one, a set of positions skill position players is just, it's just not cool. Like, that's not a nice thing.
Problematic also, or it can be.
Offensive linemen and defensive linemen, like pass rushers, they have to, like, perfect their techniques. It's not just about being big and strong and holding your ground like you're Goku trying to hold off the laser beam. It's doing fucking karate and shit, but you weigh 350 pounds.
Right. By the way, the mass shooting in Modern Warfare 2 at the airport did take place in 2016, and Modern Warfare 2 came out in 2009. So yeah, they were pretty decently in the future. I'm curious if they ever accidentally went too far and then rolled it back in one of the later games.
I looked it up. COD 4 Modern Warfare takes place in 2011.
There you go.
10
and that
years
was 2007?
Yeah, 2007. Yeah, and I'm guessing that the new Modern Warfare games are doing the same sort of thing. Like, I haven't played them, but I'm guessing that they're like, this takes place in 2022.
That was a good Ghost voice, right? Is that what you're going for?
It wasn't. Andrew, I was going for Price, but it was Ghost because I'm relevant.
You should audition. He's canceled. Get your voice acting career off the ground.
Ghost got canceled? Is that something we're going to talk about that I didn't read?
No, I actually didn't. I didn't think to put that on there, but sure. News of the week. Article on Kotaku right now. That's where I saw it.
Wait,
at least.
You never introduced yourself.
Yeah, I did.
He did. He said he's in 24 FPS.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, we're good. People know who I am. They know. They know what's up. The voice actor for Ghost got canceled for making some sexist comments towards a Twitch streamer, I believe.
He had been doing a bunch of crossovers with a lot of different, or like collabs with a lot of different Call of Duty YouTubers.
He was working.
He was always a little cringy to me.
Oh, okay.
Throwing that out there, like he definitely was not as talented at the content creation thing as they were.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that good at the game, obviously, because he's a voice actor by trade, not a video gamer.
Right.
So like it was more, the ones that I watched the most, I think, were him and Stone Mountain 64, who's best known for doing his like commanding officer stuff, where he basically just RPs as a super serious like military officer trying to like keep everyone alive and stuff like that. And then it would be also Ghost with him, and then 2 randoms who were just like, what the fuck? Like, we're in a lobby with this guy who's super serious and literal Ghost. And they were kind of entertaining, but yeah, they were a little cringe, and I wonder if that was part of it, is that I was a little off-put by all that. What do you say, Lucas? And say it in his voice.
I don't play that much Call of Duty. I don't think I know what Ghost sounds like.
Oh, read it.
Okay, let me see.
All right.
That's it.
So he was going to do an appearance on stream with a female streamer, and she didn't appear. It was the zombie unicorn. She was going to be on the stream with him, and she didn't show up. And then he said something along the lines of like, "It's fine that she didn't show up. She'd actually have to be amusing. She couldn't just rely on her horrendous cleavage."
He was a little pissed off, I can tell. That is, it's interesting. Enemy dropping into the AO. I can do all the Warzone clips, probably. That's fun.
Yeah. Nope, I found the article, yep. That was from a couple days ago, actually. Wow, I just saw that this morning. Weird.
Cancel culture, it comes for Ghost and that horse.
Yeah. He'd have to be amusing. He'd actually have to do something other than just be the voice of a character in the video game.
Wait, do we want to talk about the Kentucky
The
Derby
horse.
stuff here instead? Okay, fucking let's go.
That fucking horse was sneaking roids, man. The trainer had no idea. The horse walked into fucking GMC or GM. Is it GMC?
GNC.
GNC, that's right. Yeah, I was thinking of the car company. Yeah. GNC.
And it said, "Give me a Cadillac."
Give me all that illegal stuff, man. Like, I got a race to win, baby.
The only reason that they said that he took the steroids is because of liberals.
News story for those out of the loop. The horse that won the Kentucky Derby, its name escapes me right now. It's something dumb, like they all are. Following a horse steroid test, which is okay. Just learned that was a thing.
And apparently necessary.
Yeah. Came back positive. And that's not the first time a horse from this owner has tested positive for steroids. The owner is claiming... Yep, the owner is claiming that this is cancel culture at work, and also that the horse isn't on steroids. It just ate some hay that a horse on steroids peed on, and is also trying to delay the next testing to reclaim the title. Fuck.
Yeah. Someone commented that cancel culture is a better name for a horse. Like,
yeah.
Cancel culture coming down the inside line or whatever the fuck. Yeah. But yeah, then the owner was just super shitty about it, and it was fucking hilarious. And I saw some takes that were like, no, this guy's right. This is like the perfect representation of quote unquote cancel culture. Like, you fucked up, did something really bad and got caught, and are now claiming that it's because like people are trying to ruin you. Like that is exactly cancel culture in a like nutshell. Like, you did something bad
wrong. People
now
don't
there's consequences.
Like it.
Yeah.
And you're upset about those consequences. That is what people like. That is what quote unquote cancel culture actually is. He is right. This is the perfect example. Like, there are some where there's gray area, and it's like, oh, you know, people had an axe to grind against this person in addition to them doing bad things. So it is like a little like, oh, I don't know, gray. This is the actual dictionary definition of quote-unquote cancel culture.
New age cancel culture. The new definition of cancel culture. Because cancel culture used to just be, you have different takes on music than I. Me and my buddies are going to go harass you on social media until you say you're sorry. And that was, cancel culture. The hashtag blank is over party, which isn't even a thing that happens anymore. Because I think even those people were like, yeah, now the conservatives took this whole cancel culture thing and made it something else, so it's not even fun anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not a thing. It's not real. It is just what happens when you do something that is bad and people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's one in Burbank that, I don't know if it's gone super national yet, but it's like all the rage in Burbank of this fucking absolute crock of shit bar owner who owns Tin Horn Flats, which was a semi-popular like bar in Burbank. And like at the height of the pandemic in like December, when we had shut down like outdoor dining as well as indoor dining and everything, he was just like, fuck it. And my business is going to go out of business anyway, so come on in. Like, we'll do indoor dining, no masks. Fuck it. Like, we're going to treat it like there's not a pandemic going on. This was literally when like Los Angeles was the epicenter of COVID. Like, California was the epicenter of COVID in the world, and Los Angeles was the epicenter of California. So it was like literally we were the worst off. And he was like, fuck it. All right. And then the city since has been like, well, we're revoking all your licenses and shit because you broke the law and endangered everyone. And it's been insanely escalating. Like, they like locked the doors and they like cut the padlocks so that they could get back inside and keep serving. Now they've put up like chain link fences around the restaurant. and now they've created like a food truck that they sit outside with.
God.
That's the Tin Horn Flats food truck and shit. Like, and that's the whole thing. This guy's loaded. This guy's really rich. Like, he's not he wasn't a struggling local business owner. He has fuck you money. Like, he owns 1 million properties across LA. Like, it wasn't, a family run joint that was like about to go under. Like, he's a multi-millionaire. So that's why you can literally have all this fucking money. And it just became like a rallying cry for like Trump supporters, and like it's a shithole. And every time you drive by there, it's like a massive throng of people demanding that the restaurant be open. And they're like, well, everything else is open. And it's like, everything else didn't break the fucking law.
Yeah.
Like, everything else was like, I hate this. And yeah, there were plenty of restaurants that went to local city council meetings saying like, we need to bring back outdoor dining like as soon as possible and everything. Like, we understand indoor dining is dangerous, but like, we think outdoor dining is very important, and like those things were taken into consideration. And then outdoor dining was one of the first things that was brought back when we finally got cases under control. And like, even though they hated it, they were a sane human being that was like, you know what? At the end of the day, we do need a license to operate. And
this guy just maybe committed manslaughter 6 months ago. What? Are we gonna like hold this over his head forever? Come on. What's wrong with people?
This reminds me of over the weekend, apparently my brother-in-law and his brother came across a truck that had flipped in the middle of the night into a cornfield, and the two guys inside were fine but piss drunk.
Yeah.
And
Jesus.
were like trying to get the truck out of the ditch but couldn't because they were like up to their knees in mud. And then like they showed up, and his brother is a paramedic. So he was trying to like help them, and then they're like, "No, just take us home. We don't want the cops to come." Like, well, no, I am calling the cops on you right now. And then he tried to fight them.
Yeah.
And his response was the drunk guy in the truck, "You're not making America great again by calling the cops on me."
What?
And it's just that's what it is. If you don't do something that they like, you are contributing to America not being great, like them, because they're making America great.
They're great.
Yeah, they are hit them and Donald Trump.
They got it all figured out, baby.
Two peas of the same pod, making America great. And it's cancel culture. Calling the cops on two drunk guys that almost killed themselves is cancel culture.
Yeah.
But then they almost assuredly have a Blue Lives Matter, then Blue Line flag somewhere on their person.
And they'll get
property.
in that fight when the cops show up, and they'll be like, "Oh, we supported you. What are you doing arresting us?" And it's like, bro, You don't support cops just by you hate black people. This is more proof that you just hate black people.
Yeah.
Like, you don't actually support cops. If a cop came to take your guns, you would kill them. Like, you don't support police. You just don't like black people. This is, like, case in point when they get arrested and they were like, dude, I'm Blue Lives Matter. What's wrong with you? Like, because they don't expect them to actually, like, follow the rules.
Yeah, no, the whole law and order chant is all bullshit. They do not care about the law nor order. It's just, we don't want these black people being loud.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of the arguments raised during Trump's first impeachment hearing was, well, if President Trump did this thing, it was just because he was trying to benefit the country by getting elected. Like, it was literally like, look, he thinks that it's in the country's best interest for him to get elected, so he can cheat because it's in America's best interest for him to cheat. Like, when you get that far gone on the logic, like, yeah, I don't know what to do there. Like, when it's literally like, I can break the law because I'm a good person, so I shouldn't be arrested, even though me doing this is making me not a good person. Like, there's definitely a breakdown in
Hey,
logic
look,
at some
officer,
point
I was gonna make better use of that money than they were.
Yes! But literally, yes, that is an argument that you can make if you're using that logic, which is insane, but you can absolutely say that. When I robbed that bank, I was going to donate it to the political campaign that I think is going to be best for the country. So you shouldn't arrest me because I was just operating in America's best interest. Like, it's insane, but absolutely that's the jumping off point that some of them have arrived at, which is fucking wild, man.
Basically Robin Hood.
Yeah, I'm Robin Hood.
Not the app, no
like
affiliation.
Hood, right?
Yeah, you're cops. You're cops. You love people, like, operating outside of the realm of, like, justice and the way the world is, the status quo.
Hold on. I'm hearing that Robin Hood stole from the rich to give it to the poor. Oh, that sounds like socialism.
I met the Punisher. I'm like the Punisher. You guys are cool with that, right?
No, they definitely are.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of Punisher stickers lately. And
Fuck.
I can't like, I'm sure there's just comic book fans left over, but at this point it's like so associated with that it's kind of like, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, those people aren't comic book fans.
Well, it depends.
Well,
like if I see just a Punisher sticker, I'm willing to be like, maybe, but plenty of times there'll be like a U.S. Marine Corps sticker or something alongside it, and it's like, yeah, I think I know what's going on here. Like,
I've seen them on cop cars.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
like just a badge of like, I work for Burbank Police Department.
My favorite one is it's the Punisher skull with the thin blue line down one side of it, and I saw a cop with like a patch stuck to his arm with that on it once. I'm like, I'm gonna leave the room. I'm going to be far away from you, dog.
Yeah.
Disney. You should have called Disney on them. They could have sued. They could have done something about that. Fuck. Randy Pitchford may have announced Borderlands 4 via a couple of tweets.
That sounds fucking lit.
Yeah.
Do you think it was an accident?
So, can the embodiment of chaos commit an accident if they're not capable of doing something intentionally?
You're saying that this man is everything that he does is an accident, so therefore, is it an accident?
Possibly.
This is devolving into a thought experiment, more
right?
Like a full philosophical debate than an actual question.
Did he leak it or not? You look at the content of these tweets and it's yeah, because he definitely said yes, but in a no sort of way.
I mean, if anyone out there has skills to pay bills and wants to get in on some Borderlands action, we're working on the big one. Yeah, that is pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to work on the new Borderlands game? I mean, like.
Yeah. Wild. All right. Cool. Moving on to film. The Demon Slayer movie. Fucked it up. The Demon Slayer movie is making a ridiculous amount of money.
How much is ridiculous?
I think the top grossing movie of 2020. Or kind of 2021 also. I think I read like third highest grossing anime movie of all time now.
Demon Slayer earned 6,412,000
in the past weekend. Yeah.
Oh, okay, in the weekend. I'm like, in its entire run?
It says in the U.S. it's made $34 million.
And then globally, oh boy, 456 million.
Not bad.
No.
In a
panorama?
Yeah, panorama. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the. Those memes have kind of died.
In a Panda Express? Yeah, no, those memes didn't last very long.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, behind Pokemon 2000 the movie and Pokemon the first movie.
Yeah.
In the US.
That's some company to be with.
And just ahead of Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yo, Andrew, they're making another one. They're doing another movie.
I can't wait to have a couple more of these and watch that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, Dragon Ball Super Broly. What more could you ask for?
What's bad?
Is it going to be like Dragon Ball Super Broly 2 Return of Jafar or some shit?
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo is kind of dead, huh?
Right? I'm okay with that.
Was it Simba's Pride? One of those other shitty direct-to-DVD sequel.
Yeah, because there was the Lion King 1.5. There was a Lion King 2, and yeah, I think it was called like Simba's Pride or some shit.
I think it was Simba's Pride.
I kind of like Return of Jafar more for the memes.
What are some other ones? They had Open Season 2. Did you guys watch Open Season? Well, that might have been DreamWorks. That was probably DreamWorks, huh? I don't know. You guys watch Open Season?
No.
No. Let me get a poster. That might spark something.
Watch that shit a lot. It had Ashton Kutcher as a beta male deer. And then Martin Lawrence as a big ol' bear.
Okay. I've seen parts of this movie, but I think when I was a kid, I saw this, thought it was Over the Hedge, thought that I had already watched it, and then turned to something else.
It wishes it was Over the Hedge. Over the Hedge is vastly superior to Open Season. But, yeah. No, Ashton Kutcher plays a beta male deer who becomes best friends with a domesticated bear that is released to the wild. And then they go on all sorts of adventures.
Ooh.
And then they save the forest from a hunter and a bunch of hunters. It's an interesting movie.
Okay.
Did you guys see that? I think it's either Idaho or Iowa just passed a bill that said they're going to eradicate 90% of wolves. Idaho.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw you retweeted it.
Yeah. What the fuck? It's 2021, guys. We just got over this shit. We just got over this shit.
In other news, we also want to eliminate 99% of passenger pigeons and 98% of the wild buffalo. Just like, we want to recreate that image where there's a mountain of buffalo skulls. Like, that'd be cool, right, guys?
I'm getting word that we found a few dodo birds somehow clinging to existence, and I'm traveling to those islands with a gun myself to end it.
Yeah, fam. No, that was pretty wild, and I liked the statistics included of like Wolves confirmed to kill 143 cows out of like 5 million. Like,
yeah. Said it was 0.00004% of the cattle population, and they're going to kill 90% of the wolves.
And all the cows that were killed by wolves were, like, the farmers were...
compensated.
What's it called? Yeah, compensated by the state government. Like,
cows are insured. Yeah.
So...
Yeah, if you have a cow that gets killed by a wolf, it's like the... it's not the DNR, but it's like the, wildlife something organization. They pay for it. They're like, I'm going to pay
now
for...
I'm picturing...
What?
I'm picturing cow insurance scams.
Yeah.
You're like leaving them out in the open and like putting like wolf bait around them and shit. Like you're trying to... Holy fuck. Diabolical. Like you couldn't... It's the perfect crime. You can literally just bait a bunch of wolves to kill all your cows so you can make money.
So I see last week you bought
assets.
a bunch of really old cows for cheap. Sick old cows. And then you knocked down all your fencing and covered them in chum? Like you were hunting for sharks.
You kept them in individual pens and like tied them to a stake in the middle of the pen, like so that they couldn't group
like
together.
It's fucking
like
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Hey, Farmer John, I'm the agent assigned to your case. I came over to review these documents when I couldn't help but notice that large blood stain on the front of your truck. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Hey, Farmer John, can you tell me, I'm not an expert on wolves. They just sent me here because I'm the insurance guy. Do bite marks look like shotgun blasts? I'm just a rookie out here. Maybe you can explain that.
Bro, Farmer John, like I'm not very experienced in this. And I'm just a down country boy. Like I don't really know. But like you got a lot of like fake teeth and fake like are you into cosplay? Like I couldn't help but notice the wolf suit in your closet. And the very sharp like fake wolf claws to go with it. I'm not sure. Like, did you go to Comic-Con or something?
Ordinarily, I wouldn't judge you for your lifestyle, but I can also see there's a swastika armband on that suit. I'm gonna have to bring you in for this one.
Yeah. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
All right. I think that will just about take us into the meme corner.
The memes.
Andrew, this is your bread and butter. You are closer to this one than either Ryan or I.
Think, Mark. Think. So, Ryan,
I have no idea what this is.
Oh, man.
Fuck.
I'm sure that you didn't listen to the podcast last week when you were out, and that's fine. But what I was telling Lucas was I haven't seen the show Invincible on Amazon Prime, the cartoon based on the Robert Kirkman comic with like Stephen Yeun and J.K. Simmons and Sandra Oh and just a pretty like well acclaimed voice acting crew. But I have absorbed most of the show because YouTube thinks that I watch it. And so I kept getting recommended clips from this show. And as I watched more of them, then it knew that I liked this show. And it kept giving me more. So I've seen most of the show through like 1 minute YouTube clips.
As intended, as God designed.
And the show is basically a cartoon about Stephen Yeun, and his dad is basically Superman. He's an alien guy that came to Earth and has superpowers. And so he also, when he's a teenager, gets his superpowers, and he's got to learn how to use his powers, yada, yada, yada. Like, hope he learns how to control them. Except his dad is also just a cold-blooded conqueror, murderer in disguise. And the show is brutally violent and gory, even though for the first, 25 minutes of the first episode, it's presented as, a kid's cartoon about a young boy developing superpowers. And then, spoiler alert, first episode ends with Omni-Man, his dad, murdering the Justice League. And, like, crushing their skulls. And brains flying everywhere. And just horrific shit. And the end of the show, he reveals to his son that happened and why and yada, yada, yada. And he's just pummeling the shit out of his son. Just beating his skull into the dirt, trying to get him to join him. And he's like, join me. He's like, no, you're going to have to kill me. And he's like, fine, I'll just make another kid. Who cares? And just beating the shit out of him until he, like, kind of, thinks back to his time with his son. He's like, maybe I don't want to do this. And then he's standing over him. He's like, you're going to live for thousands of years. Everything's going to be gone. Think, Mark. Think. And he does this pose over just a battered, what should be a corpse. Just like with a caved in face covered in blood. He's like, think, Mark. You got to be smarter than this. So then people have taken that screenshot and basically created their own art over top of it. Like, my favorite one is buff Jimmy Neutron standing over a beaten to shit Sheen. He's like, think, Sheen, think.
Oh, God.
No, there's a bunch of these.
Isn't that also Jimmy Neutron's before he gets his brain blast? I'm surprised they didn't incorporate the think.
This doesn't relate so much to the meme as it does the show. Andrew, it's called Invincible because the kid's superhero name is Invincible, right?
Yeah. He chooses his name to be Invincible, and he's very invincible.
Which is like...
That's not a term, right?
Or
is it?
I don't...
Invincible a thing?
I assume because... I mean, putting IN before a word is like a negation. I assume that vincible is a word.
Vincible,
a word?
Able to be overcome or conquered. I was going to say that him naming himself that, while not being invincible, is big, like, I want to bully this kid talking shit on the playground energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like...
Because his name is Invincible. Again, I've seen most of this show through short clips. I saw him win one fight and lose 5.
Well, did he get fucking...
No.
Was he vinced
in
any of them?
He was vinced. This motherfucker was... He did the Goku thing of like, oh, I am literally dying. I guess it's going to take me like 10 days to come back from this one.
He sounds invincible. I don't know. If he can come back at all, no, I don't know if he's Vince.
He can recover because he's an alien and, alien rules and shit. Mm-hmm. But, like, he definitely, he can die.
If he hasn't died yet, then we don't have confirmation of that. There's that a spoiler.
No, he's not dead, at least as far as I know at the end of the show.
My familiarity with the series is that this race of aliens is capable of dying. And that they got so strong through, like, combative genetic selection, where they just fight each other to the death, and then the strongest people breed, and then make those kids fight to the death, and then the strongest ones of them get to, like, keep going.
And how does that expand lifespan? That makes no sense.
Aliens.
Well, no, they're just aliens. Yeah.
Earth's atmosphere.
Different biology. Fucking comic book rules. I mean...
Well, but then what does that have to do with the fucking eugenics? I don't understand.
So, in the story...
Are they aliens, or is it eugenics?
No. They are aliens. They look like people. It's like, Superman is an alien.
Is it because of their alien... Yeah, is it like Superman, where, like, this sun makes me strong? Or is it because of the eugenics? Like, which
I think it's both. I think, like, the entire race was, compared to humans, like, they can fly. Like, that's a thing. They can fly. Yeah. They can... They can fly space.
Because of the eugenics or because of the sun?
I don't know. I think I want to know. I think that's just like the race could do that, but over years, then they were better. I don't know.
So, but the aging you think is more due to the sun and not due to the eugenics?
No, like that's just their. Like I think all of them, like
there might not be
of years.
The atmosphere might not be a factor here, like Superman is.
No, it's
just like being aliens living on Earth is causing them to live longer, or
no, like
them having fought each other for thousands of years is causing them to live
I think
longer.
Just because they're a different species, they live longer. And then the reason that they're super strong and shit is because only the strong survived type thing, and eugenics.
I mean, yeah, that tracks. I was just like, because it's the whole misconception of like, oh, the strong and the fit ones are the ones that go on to have the most kids, which is always the best. And it's just like, not always. Like you can be really strong and be really deficient in a lot of other areas. Like your heart could just collapse at the age of 30. But like as long as you have a lot of kids before then, like your genes get
Or
passed
you could
on.
be really strong, which makes you reckless, which leads to you dying at 17, like, and not having kids. And the ones that were left were the weak little betas that stayed at home and survived.
I'm saying more in this realm where it sounds like it was specific eugenics and they were like only the people that win these fights get to breed.
Yeah, right. I think that's
like,
what it was.
But that would be a flawed system in creating the perfect being because, there would be a lot of potential deficiencies that could arise from being that selective around something that's not necessarily the number one desirable trait. Like,
so I don't know if it's a thing. I did some deep dives on this. Not deep dives. I went on the Wikipedia or the wiki.
deep.
And so I don't know if it's in the show, but at least in the comics, it's a thing that like they do over thousands of years they would just have everyone kill each other, and then the ones that would survive would breed, and then they just keep going. And then one day, there's just a virus, and almost all of them die because of the eugenics and the selective breeding. And it's like, oh, there's hardly any of us left.
Right.
So
they've turned themselves into bananas.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys know that shit about bananas, right? That like we're on a razor's edge of just losing all bananas.
If a bacteria or a virus comes out that attacks bananas quicker than we can stop it, just the entire world supply of bananas gone.
Bananas are all the same banana. Like when you eat a bunch of bananas and then a week later eat a bunch of bananas, you're just eating the same exact banana. You're eating that banana's identical twin. Like it's real bad. Like we are in serious trouble with bananas. So that's what they are doing in effect is like reduce our cheetahs are similar too. Like there's no genetic diversity in cheetahs, so it wouldn't take much to just destroy cheetahs forever.
Did we do that to cheetahs, or did cheetahs do that to themselves? Oh boy.
Cheetahs, there used to be a bunch of subspecies of cheetah, and then sometime like around the Ice Age, almost all of them went extinct, and a very small population survived and reproduced. And that's why, I mean, like also because it's an animal, so we can't tell them apart. But even like researchers sometimes have trouble telling cheetahs apart because they're very genetically similar to each other, like all of them, and there's no subspecies or anything. They're kind of like humans in that way, where we're like, but we have a lot more genetic diversity because we emerged a lot earlier than what we now call cheetahs did. So
I think cheetahs are also one of the mammals with a weirdly high rate of cannibalism, so that probably is not doing them any favors either.
Yeah, no, because they probably got fucked up.
Yeah.
Like they survived because they were the ones that were lucky, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were the fittest. Like the whole concept of survival of the fittest is completely a misnomer. Like
if there's like a nuclear apocalypse, the people that will survive might just be the fucking weirdos that live underground. They are not the genetic superior race, but they will be the ones that last the longest.
Or just the ones with a weird mutation that allows them to resist radiation. Like that has never been a thing before because we've never had a giant apocalyptic nuclear wasteland. Like, so we never know, man.
Yeah, we're basically there already, but this has taken us into the breakouts. Ryan, what are you checking out?
I caved and started watching Last Chance U basketball. I'm not quite finished. I kind of wanted to be for this reason because of the breakouts, but didn't quite get there.
Why do you say you caved? Like, what was the hesitation before?
I loved Last Chance U football. Like, that was one of my and it wasn't called Last Chance U football. It's just called Last Chance U. One of my favorite shows. Every single year I would watch it and then also check in on like all the players that had come and gone in the past. Basically, it's a show about community college athletes. It used to be football players, now it's basketball players. And they go to the high-powered community colleges that commonly get they call them D1 bounce backs. So really highly recruited players that got into D1 and then maybe like had some like academic troubles or like run-ins with the law or they got expelled for whatever reason. And then they call them bounce backs. They like end up in community college. And like if they can prove themselves, then they can get back into D1 and then hopefully go pro and stuff like that. Like there's been a million examples throughout the NFL and NBA and everything like that. Or they'll just have like really high caliber high school players that had bad grades in high school so they couldn't get into D1. And so like it's fun they call it Last Chance U because it's like this is it. Like if you fuck this up, you're not going to become a professional athlete. If you succeed, like the sky is literally the limit. Like you could go on to be, an uber famous wealthy athlete and everything like that. So it's just a fascinating concept, and I prefer football to basketball as a general concept, and I just think there's a lot more like brotherhood and camaraderie in a sport like football in comparison with basketball, in which one person can just take over and run the game. Like it is physically impossible for a single player to literally like decide a game in football. Quarterback's the closest thing that they have to it, but like at the end of the day they only can influence so much. In basketball, literally one player could just 100% decide a game. It's not that hard.
There are also so many similar positions in football compared to basketball, where on a basketball team at this level you're kind of playing with your competition.
Right. Yeah, no, it arises for a lot of egos and everything like that, and it's rare to see true like teamwork and camaraderie in that level, I would say, of basketball. But it's very enjoyable, and I think the reason that they did it is because it's easier to pick out the winners. Like the thing about Last Chance U football is they never once even really got that close to picking the team that ended up winning, whatever title that they're chasing, be it a state title or because JUCO like football and basketball is like fragmented. Like there's no national championship really for JUCO in the way that there is for like FBS and everything. So the highest level of competition, they were never quite able to get that. The first 2 seasons they chose Eastern Mississippi Community College, which had just won the title. So then they were like, well, no brainer, right? And I think partially because of the camera crews, they never got over the hump while they were at EMCC. And also the coach outed himself as a huge like asshole, and everyone hated that coach, and he was pretty fucking like bad, like and had some like serious like problematic shit going on like with race and everything too, which is not great for a Southern JUCO football coach who, as you can imagine, the majority of his players are going to be black. Like so yeah, not great. Then they went to Independence Community College, who was like the new kids on the block that were supposed to be all this hot shit. And that coach was somehow even worse. Like that coach literally got worse. And it was, really bad there. And they didn't win anything because he was an awful coach. And then that ended with someone wrote an article about that coach based on like they're seeing in the show. And he impersonated a lawyer to try to like get them to take down the article by like threatening lawsuits and stuff, pretending to be a high-powered lawyer at a high-powered law firm, and got fired and everything for that, because he was just an absolute moron.
Dude, it's like $300 for a couple hours of a lawyer's time to submit that on your behalf. What are you? Fuck.
But he's got too much. He spent too much money on his caddies. dude, I got 2 caddies. I got a beach house in California. I don't need y'all slap dicks. That's what he would say. But with like a very urban patois, which he grew up in South Central LA, so it's a little bit excusable. But like, just this big white dude talking very black about his caddies and his beach house, and then eventually
it's a bad look.
Fired for being a moron. And then the final season they went to California, which I didn't like as much because in California, which the new season of Last Chance U Basketball is also in California, so I still have that problem with it, that issue. California JUCO is a closed system, so you only win state titles in California. But also there's no scholarships or any assistance for JUCO athletes in California. Like, you don't get housing assistance, you don't get meal plans, you get nothing. Like, you're just expected to be a student and also be a full-time athlete, and it's insane. Like, the drop-off from like EMCC to Independence, which was much worse run than EMCC. Like, EMCC was a factory. I forgot to mention, when they went to Independence, like after leaving EMCC won like the giant title and everything like that the very next year after they leave. So that's another reason why I think that the camera crews were fucking it up for them.
Yeah.
But that was like a well-run organization. The coach was an asshole and problematic and everything like that. But like, at the end of the day, they had their shit together and were pretty well funded. Like, the JUCO in California was fucking depressing. Like, it was like all the kids were living in like absolute like slums, eating shit, like eating real bad fast food and stuff because it's the only thing they can afford, working second jobs and everything while trying to be like a bona fide athlete who has the talent to go D1 FBS and literally be like full ride scholarship. Like, this is your job. You have a meal plan, a nutritionist, a trainer, an academic advisor, all the tutoring you could, like, all the equipment to succeed. And meanwhile, they're expected to do so much more, and it's fucking insane. So yeah, I guess that's my spiel for why I don't like it quite as much, but I do like it a lot. It's still got that grit and grind, and I do think that I'm not done with it. And the problem with it is it's taking place in like January through March of 2020. So I don't know how it's going to end. Because they just hit the playoffs and they're in late February. And I'm like, did they squeeze in the playoffs before they had to shut down? Like, that's the cliffhanger for me. It isn't whether or not they're going to win it, because they do seem really good. And I think that they could win it. It's, did they make it before everything got shut down? Because, it's pretty interesting. So there's definitely a lot of intrigue there for sure. It's fun.
Definitely update us on that when you finish. Andrew, are you checking out anything besides piecemeal Invincible?
Well, Jade and I were going to finish Cyberpunk finally tonight, and we just again did a couple more side quests and didn't finish it. We're gonna try to do it this week because I bought Resident Evil 8, and we're going to play it together, but we don't want to play it until we fucking finish Cyberpunk. I am reading Robopocalypse, though. I know we talked about that earlier in the podcast. I went to a bookstore, tried to find some mystery and detective books to just read some of that shit, because I used to really enjoy reading that. Couldn't find anything, because there's thousands of books, and I had no idea what I was looking for. But they did have one copy of Robopocalypse, so I bought it, and I'm about 100 pages in, and it's enjoyable. It's different than World War Z, I think. I am enjoying it, but I think what World War Z and Max Brooks really nailed was, that book is told through the lens of someone interviewing different groups of people. Yeah, and the dialogue works. Like, I can tell that it's like a different person each time talking, and I think that the way that it was written is like the way that people would talk, and I thought it was really well done. And Robopocalypse, like, in one scene there's like a soldier who's presenting to like a congressional committee, and it doesn't sound like it is a soldier talking to a congressional committee. It sounds like some dude talking about some crazy shit that he saw.
Oh.
And in another scene, there's like a fast food worker that got attacked by a robot talking to a couple in a hospital, and his friend died. and it sounds like a dude talking about some crazy shit that he saw. And then in another scene, there's a young girl, like a 12-year-old girl, talking about how her toys came alive and tried to kill her. And it doesn't sound like a little girl talking about that. It sounds like a dude talking about some crazy shit that he saw. So I mean, it's really hard for me to tell story to story what the difference is in the person's perspective in their life. But at the end of the day, like, I still enjoy how each one of those is written. Like, if it was one person telling all of these stories, it would make a little bit more sense. But I do still like it. I really like the world that this guy's building. The first scene, you know, it kind of does the whole, like, and then 3 weeks earlier thing. It's like the end of the robot war, and this dude finds basically a robot external hard drive that recorded everything, and then so he's going through it and then making a book about the whole war. And like the way that they talk about like the thousands of little bomb robots that just crawl out of the ground, fucking horrifying.
Yeah,
like he's
moving IEDs basically.
Yeah, no, this guy, he knows
you.
what he's doing. This author is pretty good with that kind of shit.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It does. I think, yeah, that was one of my takeaways, is that it's leaning into the horror, I think, more than World War Z, which is weird to say because World War Z is a zombie book. But, like, right. I do think that World War Z was trying to be, like, an impartial journalistic take on what a zombie apocalypse would look like. And, yeah, Robopocalypse is, at the end of the day, trying to, I think, scare you and be like, holy fuck. Like, if AI gains sentience, we're all dead, fam. Like, Have you gotten to any of the Alaska stuff yet?
No,
that was one of my favorite.
Yet.
Ooh, Alaska's fun. And then the Native American Reserve stuff. That's also a good one. Reservation. There's some good stuff there too. But be on the lookout. It's good shit.
I'll keep you updated.
Please do. And then to update everybody on how my playthrough of Nier Replicant is going. The game briefly turned into a text adventure, and then a Resident Evil clone, and then an old school point and click adventure game, and I'm having a good time with it. Pretty sure that the shadow demons are people somehow, or like people's souls, or something fucked up and sad. Can't wait for that shoe to fully drop. And then also, Emil. Emil is like an immortal 14-year-old boy who was transformed into a weird skeleton monster. If either of you know who the guy who made this game, Yoko Taro, is, in all of the interviews he wears Emil's head as like a hat to hide his face.
Huh.
He's gay. Just a gay little skeleton boy.
Is that like new canon with this version, or is that always it's always?
Because this is a remake, right? This is a game that came out a long time ago, and then they remade it, right?
Yes, it's kind of a soft remake where it's pretty much the same. There's like one or two new missions, and then a new ending. Also, this is one of those games that like, hey, you beat it once, you get this ending. You beat it again, you get a different one, and then like there's a sixth ending now, I guess. Yeah.
So is this new canon though, like the Emil being gay?
When I was playing through Nier Automata, I dug into the original game. I dug into the wiki for the franchise, and I vaguely remember something about Emil being gay in there as well. So no, this is just a game that originally came out in 2010 that had a male gay character, which...
Male gay skeleton?
Yeah!
How progressive. Even back in 2010, they were making skeletons gay.
It's cancel culture, somehow.
Is this cancel culture? It hurt itself in its confusion. Just... cancel, I don't understand.
And the way that it's revealed too is really good, because it's like the night before a wedding, and they're all like, the main characters are all just kind of chilling out after a party, and like the playable character is about to go to bed and then like saying goodnight to people, and then Emil's just kind of like, oh man, I've never been to a wedding before, this is so amazing, like, oh man, I wish I was Freya, the woman who is getting married and like get to have a big wedding someday. And the main character and his companion, who's like a sentient book, it's a weird game, are like, oh buddy, yeah, I mean, that'll happen to you someday. I mean, you'll be the king in that situation, but like, yeah, that'll definitely happen to you. Good night. And then it just pans to Emil, or the camera zooms in on Emil, and he's like, oh shit, did our other friend not tell you guys that? I thought I was putting that out there, but okay. And just, it's really good. It's really good and handled super well, and I love it.
I had to look up whether or not Yoko Taro was gay, because I was like, oh, he's wearing the gay skeleton.
That also crossed my mind.
This is his way of being subtle. He's got a wife.
Yeah.
But I also thought, if he is gay, that man has an appreciation for women's breasts, like rivaling any straight man that I've ever seen, because Jesus Christ, his games are the crown standard for fucking obnoxious shit in that department.
I think so. This game has a character like that as well. And I think I know what the narrative justification is, kind of, but I've yet to get there.
They write it in reverse, though, Lucas. That's the problem. You can't justify it after drawing the concept art, because that's cheating.
Well, I mean, like...
That's like being like, no, the world is 5,000 years old because the Bible says it is. It's like, no, you arose, you got to the conclusion... Then you came up with reasons that it was that way.
You made giant tits. Then, in order to try to avoid being canceled, tried to write, oh, her tits are giant because...
First off, I'm pretty sure Yoko Taro's an ass man. Second off...
Both can be true.
Yeah, what?
You can like all of that.
The idea that you have to choose one or the other is a myth that has never been confirmed.
We gotta put it on Mythbusters. All right, Jamie, what's our myth today? Is it true that you have to be either an ass man or a boob man? I don't know about this one, Jamie. I think we're gonna have to do some research. Adam Savage is kind of annoying. Is that just me?
They're both annoying.
No, he's not. Fucking Jamie's not. Like, Jamie seems like an asshole and hard to work with, but definitely not annoying in the same way that Adam Savage is.
I don't know. Nier Automata, I thought... characters in that game deal with, like, the baggage of human sexuality. And so it kind of makes sense then for characters to be just hot anime protagonists in that game. So I thought it worked. I thought it kind of worked there. But then I also realized, yeah, no, this is just the male gaze as well. And that's still a problem, even if there's a better explanation for it than in Metal Gear Solid 5, where, oh yeah, she breathes through her skin so she doesn't wear clothes. Like, yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, it is also, like, I think what Andrew said, of just the path of least resistance. Like, if you have to come up with a really heady, like, reason, then you'll do it if it's the easiest way to escape criticism. Like, if you live in a culture in which that's acceptable, yeah, you'll just be like, oh, lazy excuse. If you live in a culture where it's not as acceptable anymore, you'll come up with a more advanced excuse. Like, men will go to extreme lengths to objectify women. Like,
because I'm gonna say this is gonna sound really problematic, so I'm ready to be canceled like that horse.
My body is
if you wanted to I know which order they created this character, step 1 drawing and step 2 writing. I know what order they did it in, because if they wanted to write a really in-depth female character, they wouldn't draw the same scantily clad character model as every other anime and Japanese video game. with the giant tits and the bikini, and then after the fact try to justify, oh, well, she breathes through her skin. She can't wear clothes because then she'd suffocate. Oh, of course she has to have giant tits because of the ghosts.
Okay, so
they think they're whale bones. You just say anything.
Because that doesn't mean that an in-depth female character can have big boobs or not wear a lot of clothes. Like, I know that's not true. But that wouldn't be where they started if that's what their goal was.
The problem is that if it's a guy doing it, no matter what, even if like it's being heteronormative, if it is a straight man doing it, then even if you're quote unquote doing it right and writing the character out very in detail and then creating character concepts, in that creator's mind's eye, like, we know what's going on, you know, like in their brain, they've already got an image, like whether or not
I'm gonna push this even further and say that and granted, I don't know the sexual preferences of this author, but some of the worst and most problematic, both politically and sexually, manga I've ever read was created by a woman. So, not just guys doing it, everybody's doing it. It's a problem. Yoko Taro.
Everyone's doing it. It's cool. Don't you want to be cool too?
Jump on the bandwagon. Smoke this whole carton of cigarettes.
Yoko Taro, I think, at least makes an effort to justify it, which is better than most. And I don't know, I appreciate his storytelling enough that, like, there's other stuff to enjoy here besides the male gaze, which is untrue of a lot of the stories that do this badly. And then just to cap off the Metal Gear Solid comparison, her powers are from her weird breathing through her skin photosynthetic thing. There was a 100-year-old man in a ghillie suit in Metal Gear Solid 3 who had that same power. And, like, he wasn't naked.
What?
I call shenanigans. He should have been. That would have been so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I would have been on the side of that terrible excuse if they also made a, like, wrinkled old man have to wear, like, a man thong around. Like, that'd be fucking awesome.
Also, that fight is like a sniper fight in the middle of the woods. So just imagine how terrifying that would be if an old naked man...
He'd paint himself.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be so good at painted camouflage. It'd be like body paint, but with fucking, like...
Because here's the thing,
man.
Like, there's what I know that there's a lot of time in between those games, like, when they're created. So I assume that there's, like, 10 or 15 years in between Metal Gear Solid 3 with the old man in the ghillie suit with the skin-breathing powers, and then Quiet, the girl in a bikini with the skin-breathing powers, who's also a sniper. But in that same...
Wait, she's a sniper too?
Yeah, no, she's also a sniper. In that same game, there is an old Navajo man in a wheelchair who also breathes through his skin, has the same thing she does. He wears clothes. He wears clothes in that game. They talk to each other about their skin breathing.
Wait, the woman?
Yeah, and
the woman in a bikini is talking to a man wearing normal clothes.
Yes.
About how we both have this same condition.
Yes.
And they never address it. Because they like the reason that she never wears any clothes and is always just sunning herself is because she's
an anti-masker.
Oh,
she's the equivalent of an anti-masker. She's like, I can't really breathe with all this cloth on my skin. Like, and everyone else is like, it's very easy. It's to keep other people comfortable, we wear clothes. And she's like, I don't know. Like,
this isn't what God wanted.
It's not the natural way. Like, ever since vendors started giving me, like, discounts, I just kind of rolled with it.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's the only Metal Gear Solid game that I've ever played. And there is a scene with a woman in a bikini talking to an old Navajo man in a wheelchair. She's not wearing clothes. He is. And they both talk about how they're both plants. Like,
But then they also talk about how, like, man, sure is fucked up that white governments have eradicated indigenous people's languages.
Yeah, no, there's some pretty progressive shit
like
in
glass
that game.
houses?
But there's also
Right. It feels like China going like, I don't know, guys, look at all your Black Lives Matter riot suppressing that you're doing. It's like, okay, China, I don't think you have.
I believe the game.
To throw stones.
I believe the game takes place before the Communist Party rose to power in China. Not to put all of that on them, but like I think.
No, I'm not talking about the game. I'm saying like.
It's
when China, during the Black Lives Matter protests going on last summer, they like basically tweeted like, America, huh?
Right.
You're criticizing us for suppressing Hong Kong and all that stuff, but meanwhile, you're doing. It's like, okay, China, we admit it, we're fucked up too, but like, you can't call us out. Like,
well, but that
only countries not doing this shit can call us out.
But that's what they were saying. They're saying that America can't call us out because now you're doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're saying. And no, I agree.
American people
I'm
versus
not
the American government.
I'm not the American government. I can call both of them out.
Right, exactly.
I have the moral
I don't
high
think
ground.
the American government, they might have. I take it back.
Yeah.
The American government probably did. And they're probably right to call out the hypocrisy, but at the same time, China doesn't get to do the eyes emoji, like looking like, what's going on over there? It's like, well, China, you are committing genocide. Like, and well, suppressing nonviolent protests is bad. I don't know if it quite rises to literal genocide. So,
God, was that ever a College Humor or what was that other channel? A Warp Zone bit? World nations using Instagram.
Yeah, that could work.
I mean, one of the Chinese foreign secretaries is just a guy on Twitter that calls out people saying things about China and like just swears at them on Twitter.
China number one.
Yeah, and he just says like, "Fuck you, asshole! You dumb little bitch!" Calling out China.
That is my experience online, and I don't know if that's racist, but yeah, if you ever talk to people from China who are playing video games, and if anything negative is ever said about China, which there's ways to put it, versus it is met with like a weird way. Like I think I'm sure it's probably the same section of like Americans who would be like, America, like, yeah, land of the free or whatever the fuck. But like, it feels like it'd be more nuanced if someone was like, fuck America. I feel like Americans are self-hating enough to be like, yeah. Like a decent number of us would be like, like I don't necessarily agree with you, but I agree with you enough that I'm not going to really contest it. Like,
I'm not super familiar with this, so I'm not going to get too far in depth, but I also know it is kind of a problem of Western pundits, Western journalists kind of reporting on China in a way that's like, we know what's better for this nation than the people actually living there, in a way that's creepy and problematic, but it's a quagmire.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean,
I would never write an article criticizing China beyond, hey, China, you're committing a lot of human rights violations. Like, let's maybe tone those down, shall we? Like, hey, like, I'm not saying that freedom of press is important, but like,
you don't. you can distance yourself from North Korea. Like, you're sustaining right now. You don't need that partnership.
China, yeah, imagine the concept of China and North Korea being equal partners. Like, you just have to look at a map to understand the problem in China, like, glomming on to North Korea. It's like, why, dude? You don't...
Nobody... The one of the problems about criticizing China, though, is that it's almost like the... I mean, we were talking about the Adam Schefter thing a couple of days ago of, like, well... Yeah, I know, like, I'm kind of mad about how he handled the situation, but now the people that are criticizing Adam Schefter are, like, the big MAGA heads that are like, this is why journalism shouldn't be a thing. Mm-hmm. It's like a lot of the people that are criticizing China are, like, racists and or conservatives that are like, China is bad because they're Chinese, or China is bad because they're communist. The government of China is not bad because they're Chinese or communist. They're bad because they're a fascist police state. But
I was going to say they're kind of the opposite.
Yeah, but if you criticize them, you risk aligning yourself with the racist assholes that are criticizing them for the wrong reasons. In the same way that like you might feel a certain way about how the government of Israel is oppressing the Palestinian people, but then you also risk being the guy saying the government of Israel is bad next to the guy that says the government of Israel is bad because I am a Nazi.
Yeah.
We do not have, I at least do not have it in me to get into the new Israel discourse, so I'm just going to say thank you all so much for listening to episode 143 of the Voluntary Viewing podcast. If you like what you heard, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, etc. Check out our Patreon if you want to help keep the podcast going, and join the likes of the terrific Tiffany Cole, Sucky Badger, and sensual Richard Nixon. Also have an ActBlue link in the description down below if you want to help a collection of great progressive causes. Email us your questions and business opportunities, voluntaryviewing@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube for highlight clips, and follow me at LucasTheWriter on Twitter to keep up with all of my writing. We hope you had a great Mother's Day if you celebrated. If not, hope you had a great Sunday yesterday, and good luck with the rest of your week.